Whitney's already headed out, but I just want to send her gratitude vibes for finding that lovely book. That was somehow just right for today. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I bet y'all are glad you're not me today. Whew. Trying to figure out something to say at a time like this. Oof. My colleagues have several wonderful, helpful Facebook groups and have been discussing together a lot of like, how on earth are we going to do this? What do we say? And more experienced colleagues have been helping the newer ones, just like the trees, and I really just want to, that's a part of our Unitarian Universalist faith many of you may not get to see very often, but I want you to know that behind me are a lot of really lovely, experienced, wise colleagues. And I just want to appreciate the web that we are connected to in our greater faith. So I just want to start by telling you, I don't know what happened in my perspective. On Tuesday night, I went to bed feeling kind of uneasy. I thought it wasn't looking very good, but maybe. And I woke up in the middle of the night and checked my phone like you're not supposed to do, and saw the news and felt devastated. Not again. How can this happen again? It doesn't make sense to me. And I just held my head in the darkness and cried. I was so sad, so tired the next day. I'm sure, like many of you, it felt surreal to like go to work the next day, to just like function and do things in the daylight. For those of you who have ever, like me, had your heart broken by like a breakup, it's like, how can the world just keep going on? Or if you've lost a loved one, how is the sun shining right now? It doesn't make sense to me. My mind, I noticed, kept trying to wake up, kept trying to go, no, I don't want this, and shy away from this nightmare. My colleagues, as I mentioned, we raised our voices in our discussion groups. How do we minister to anyone when we are hurting and scared too? And the answer that they advised each other that we figured out is just to be honest. We are not the kind of faith leaders who are going to tell you we have the right answers and we know it, and if you just do what I do, you'll be fine. I don't know. But I'm just going to be honest and try to offer the wisdom that's available to me. So let's start with honest. I could barely function this week. I'm queer and Mexican American and a woman. This sucks. I am unhappy, and that is okay. I feel so sad, so disappointed, so furious and frustrated and small. Especially when I realized I don't think there's anything else I could have done. That I really wasn't in control of the situation in any way. That it was, we live in Tennessee, my vote kind of didn't sway anything, and the folks who did make the choice, I don't know them. So I just felt a big choice has been made that I had no sway over, and that can be really hard. It's been one disaster after another during my lifetime. 9/11 was when I was 11 years old, and then the recession, and then the first Trump presidency, and then the pandemic, and then this. And I'm starting to accept this may just be how it is. That every few years, I should just maybe expect a steamroller. I don't know. That's what I'm starting to think. But I also know that I am not alone. I invited y'all to gather for potluck this past Wednesday night. I feel grateful to First UU Nashville, where I was in 2016, did something similar after that election. And I wish I hadn't needed that experience, but I'm grateful that I did. We needed to be together. At least some of us needed to be together, share some food. And then afterward, we came into the sanctuary. We shared our feelings. We sang a little bit. Many of you spoke about feeling scared, sad, betrayed, heartbroken, overwhelmed. Naming emotions as they arise is actually really healthy, giving them names as they come up in your body, because it activates our prefrontal cortex so that we can feel the feelings without letting them drive, without panicking, without fighting or flighting or freezing. We can feel them, and we can make the right choice for what to do next. After we spoke, we sang together. It wasn't perfect or beautiful because, as I remembered partway through, I cannot really read music. Whoops. But we got through it, and singing it all is worth doing, even if it's a little scrungly. The rest of this week, I've been seeking sources of wisdom. A colleague of mine, Reverend James Kubal-Komodo in North Carolina, shared the following kind of long quote, which I do want to read in its entirety. I'll say end quote when it's over, so you know when. Quote, in November 2016, I was on the staff of the Unitarian Universalist Association, our national denomination, and I saw the number of conflicts within congregations rise after the election. When people are upset about a national situation over which they have little power, they often act out inappropriately in those environments in which they do have power, which includes within their families, workplaces, and religious communities. Let's not do that. In fact, let's do the opposite. We may not have much power to affect events at the federal level for a while, but we do have the power to be gentle and kind with one another. Let's be extra gentle with those who may be in greatest pain about the election, including the LGBTQ members of our communities who have been subject to disgusting, hateful rhetoric over the past months. I know we have, Reverend James goes on, I know we have several first-time visitors among us this morning. This congregation usually does a good job of welcoming first-time visitors, but we occasionally get so caught up talking to people we already know that we may miss them. Let's make a special effort to reach out and welcome those visiting us for the first time this morning and in the coming days. Let's make this congregation a life raft, a safe harbor, a sanctuary for all of those who no longer feel like they belong in their own country. Let's give them a place to belong. End quote. So we may feel anger and despair, but let's act with kindness and patience. Let's be gentle with ourselves and each other. Let's be extra welcoming of new folks, not extra suspicious. I've been soul searching a lot. Man, I don't know. Is it possible I'm wrong? That the democratic approach is wrong? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that much about the economy. Maybe. On the elitism that we can sometimes exhibit, probably. But, I've been thinking about it, and on the dream that all life on earth be able to flourish, no. I will not compromise on that. No, I don't think that's wrong to hope and dream for. So on January 18th, I'll be back at the Women's March. In April, I'll be at Earth Day. In June, I'll be wearing my priest's collar at Pride and Juneteenth. Like the nonviolent leaders before me, I will put my body on the line to prevent harm, and I will refuse to cause more of it. Because people of color deserve to live and live well. Gay, lesbian, and queer people deserve to live and live well. Transgender people and non-binary people deserve to live and live well. Disabled people deserve to live and live well. Immigrants deserve to live and live well. Women deserve to live and live well. All people, all life is worthy and deserves to live and live well. So in the words of author John Green, the world may be broken, but hope is not crazy. The name of the game in my mind will be to slow them down. Project 2025 and all those awful things we heard them say they would do won't happen automatically or inevitably. Yes, it appears they may have all the branches of government, but there are still a lot of things that can slow government down, don't we know it? We need wrenches in gears. We need bodies chained to each other across the doors, across the roads. We need non-compliance with unethical commands. Resistance when oppression asks you to help rat someone out or do something wrong. If you work at ORNL, I want to encourage you to think carefully about what may be requested of you. I don't know enough about ORNL these days, but we know it's past. Think carefully. If you're asked to do something that is wrong, do it wrong, or slowly, or not at all. Don't comply. Maybe they'll get someone else to do it. In any of our workplaces, if you're asked to do something wrong, yeah, maybe they can find somebody else to do the wrong thing. But don't let that be the reason that you do the wrong thing. We have power beyond our votes, so slow them down. Because the midterms, which will occur, are only 2 years away. And the next election is only 4. And mark my words, there will be a next election. Because when someone says half of the country voted for Trump, they're wrong, actually. Half of the country didn't vote at all. I wish that they had, but that means Trump won a narrow, not a landslide, majority of those who voted. He won fewer votes than he got in 2020, 3 million fewer. And that number is only about 28% of the voting age adults in our nation, which means 72% of this country, 72%, did not vote for that man. Statistics like that have been helping me. And so have my spiritual practices. After all, this is a religious community, so I want to encourage all of us to cultivate, find, or lean on some spiritual practices. There's a great book I can recommend to you called Everyday Spiritual Practice by Scott Alexander. It's got all kinds of wonderful multi-faith things in here. Some of which, let's see, for those who aren't familiar with what a spiritual practice is, it can be almost anything that tunes us like an instrument, tunes us into our deepest values and the greater wholeness we are a part of. Here are some examples. Contemplative practices. So these feel more familiar, classic spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, or even sacred reading practice like Lectio Divina. Movement practices like yoga, tai chi, dance, hiking. Even relationships can be grounds of spiritual practice. Marriage, parenting, or seeing strangers as divine. Social justice actions like volunteering, vegetarianism, Protests and organizing can be spiritual practices. And creative arts, like painting, gardening, sewing, or cooking, perhaps especially making music together, can be spiritual practices. Approaching any of these with spiritual intent can pull us out of our small, scared perspectives and remind us of greater truths. Humanity has been at this for a while. It's, as a collective, has gotten through hard times. And it gets through them better when we work together and have each other's back. But I'll be honest with you, that as an atheist, this is something I kind of just learned about while I was in training to become a minister. For those of you who are new, hi. Atheists are cool here, as are Buddhists, pagans, Christians, everyone. So I happen to be an atheist, but not one of the mean ones. They'd be mad if they heard me say that. But so spiritual practices aren't something I grew up with, but there's something I've been trying to kind of get the hang of as I became a minister. I've recently recommitted to a specific daily set because I know I'm going to need them. So if this is helpful, the set that I do on a daily basis, I can remember it with an acronym, JERM, J-E-R-M. Journaling, exercise, reading, and meditation. Journaling helps me touch base with myself and focus on what's important. Exercise helps me touch base with my physical body and the world around me. Also helps keep me physically healthy. Reading, which is just the most beautiful way to see someone else's perspective on something. And meditation, which I always say helps us remember that with every breath we take, we are connected with the greater wholeness of the world and the universe. So those are the four that I do. It doesn't have to be four, I don't know, whatever works for you. But if you kind of touch base at the beginning of something like that and go, why is this important? Why does this help my life? How do I tune back in? It can really help a lot. So, pro tip from the minister. Quotes and poems have also been helping. I don't know about y'all, but online I've really been appreciating a lot of the quotes and poems and things like that I've been seeing. So I want to read one for you. You're probably familiar with it. You've probably seen it this week. It's from Lord of the Rings. I can't do this, Sam. And Sam responds, I know. It's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here. But we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had a lot of chances of turning back, only they didn't, because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. I'd also like to share, we're almost wrapping up. I'd also like to share a poem with you all. This is called Fault Line by Robert Walsh. Did you ever think there might be a fault line passing underneath your living room? A place in which your life is lived in meeting and in separating, wondering and telling, unaware that just beneath you is the unseen seam of great plates that strain through time. and that your life, already spilling over the brim, could be invaded, sent off in a new direction, turned aside by forces you were warned about but not prepared for. Shelves could be spilled out, the level floor set at an angle in some seconds shaking. You would have to take your losses and do whatever must be done next. When the great plates slip and the earth shivers, and the flaw is seen to lie in what you trusted most, look not to more solidity, to weighty slabs of concrete poured, or strength of cantilevered beams to save the fractured order. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's often torn, but always healing. There's your strength. The shifting plates, the restive earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we journey together. So, dear ones, I wish these hard times had not fallen to us, but they have. So who are we? What will we do next? I really want to encourage you to take it slow. Take good care of yourself and your loved ones. Feel your emotions. Take your time. But don't let that panic, that sadness drive. Act with kindness and goodness. Prepare to resist. Do not comply in advance. Cultivate your spiritual practices to remind yourself of greater truths. Cherish joy and beauty and wonder when you find it, because it's still there. A better world is possible, and it is worth struggling for. May it be so.